Okay, so yeah, welcome to today's lesson. Today we'll be looking at images and we'll be looking at how to manipulate them, how to work with them, how to correct them, how to tune them into the colors and the shapes that we want them to be, how to give them the appearance that we want in a design. Okay, so firstly, images are very important as you can see from these two designs on screen. Okay, I use multiple images in them and you can see how they make the design come to life. Okay, so we can use vector illustrations, we can use them for flyers, for posters, for banners, even simple social media posts require images to make them stand out. You understand? So that's for that. Then I'll be showing us how to import images. Okay, import images. There are a couple of ways you can do that. First way to do it is to do Control I. Now we are doing Control I as a shortcut, but you'll find imports. You'll find import images. I think you'll find it here. Yeah. So this is it. Import. So you can either come to File and click Import. You can just do Control I. So for the sake of this tutorial, we'll just do Control I. So Control I to import, and then we go and then select any image. You can either double click or you select and click import. Now, when you click import, it will bring up this ruler like stuff and it will ask you where you want to place it. So you just drag it to where you want to place it and it will import the image in its actual size. Okay, so if I place it here, you might not see anything, but if you zoom out, you see because the image is very large. So this is the size. Okay, and there's also another way to do it. So let's just quickly resize this so I can drop it into our white space here. There is also another way to do this. You can um, select your folder. You can click on your folder, then maybe minimize it, and then maybe drag it to a corner. So when you do this, you can now drag the image directly into CorelDRAW, and it will drop. Okay, so you see it still brings the image in its original size, and then you can now resize it and place it where you want to. Okay, so having understood how to import image, let me just tell us the different kinds of image you can import. So this image is a PNG image. If you check the file, you see it has .png as its extension name. So it end by extension name, I mean what it ends with. It ends with .png. So PNG files are usually files that do not have, are usually images that do not have background. Okay, some of them have background, but most times, if there is any transparency at all, a PNG image retains it. Do you understand? So, but a JPEG image is something like this. Something like this. You can see it ends with JPG, .jpg. That's the extension name. So, .jpg image must have a background. So, if I bring it in, you see that it has a background. Okay, it has a background. Okay, let me just resize this and bring it here. So zoom in. It has a background. This is a PNG. This is a JPEG. All right. Um. So like I said earlier, PNG images might have a background. They might not have a background, but JPEGs always have background. If you're exporting this and you export it as a JPEG, it is going to retain a background. Do you understand that? Okay, so we also have different kinds of images. We have .tps images, which are usually vector images. Dot um we have .svg images, which are also vector images. We also have .cif bmp images too. All right, so We'll talk about vector illustrations or vector images later. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about now is resizing images, and it's very simple. I've been doing it here since. So let me just delete this one so I don't have multiple. We have one PNG and one JPEG. Okay, so you can resize images the way we've been resizing normally by dragging them from the corner. Please note, if you do not drag them from the corner, you'll be distorting the image. So, for example, this image now, let me bring it here. Let me make a duplicate so I don't destroy it. Let me make a duplicate. Okay, bring this here. So if I resize it from the sides, you see I've distorted the image. And except I do Ctrl Z, I will never know the original proportion again. I might just resize it. I might just be stretching it too much. Okay, I will never know the original proportion except I do Control Z. So imagine you had gone so far in your design after stretching the image, and then you now have to come back and do Control Z and undo everything you've already done just to get back to this then to this point. Do you understand? So always resize from the corners, not from the sides. Okay, not from the sides, not from the side, not from the side, not from the side, but from the corners. All right. So another way to also resize images is here. You can punch in the percentage of increase or reduction you want. So let's say 50% of the original image now will be, give us this 50%. This is 50% of the original image. If we make it 100%, this is, I have to zoom out so I can see the full picture. So this is the 100% of the image, okay, and this is the 50%. We've seen this. We've seen the 50%. So let me just bring it down to 20%, okay, or 10%. Great. So that is how you can do that. You can also resize the image from, if you have an idea of the particular height or the particular width you are looking for the image, you can do that here. So let's say uh, 50 50 millimeters in width. So it will give you, it will resize to its corresponding height. Okay, and all of this is possible because this place is locked, the ratio is locked, so that once you increase once you increase either the width or the height, you get a corresponding increase or reduction in the other dimension. Okay, so if you increase the height, you get a corresponding increase in the width. If you increase the width, you get a corresponding increase in the height. Okay, and vice versa. All right, so that's how it is for resizing images, and we can stretch shapes. We can stretch shapes. We can stretch. Um, we can sometimes you can even stretch text, even though I don't really like that. But you see images, it's always good to keep them in their right proportion. Okay. So yeah, so that's for that. And then just like every other thing so that we've been working with, their transformations are also pretty much the same. So you can flip, if you, let's zoom in a little. Okay, let's work with this big one. You can flip from here. So flip horizontally, you can flip vertically. Okay, so you can do that. And then to rotate is also basically the same thing. The same thing with the rotation we've been talking about for other objects. Okay, so if you click on the center, you see the rotation options. So you can hold it down and drag. You understand? Rotate it as much as you want. Rotate it. Okay, click, double click, and click again until you get this, and then it rotates. Okay, so or you can also rotate from here. So let's bring this back to 0. Let's bring this back to 0. You can rotate from here. You can just select and then rotate, let's say 45 degrees, and that is it. You've rotated the image. Okay, so that's for that. Let's bring this back to 0. All right, so having done that, the next thing we'll be looking at is how to crop an image. How to crop an image. So you crop an image to remove the unwanted parts, to remove the unwanted areas. Okay, so there are a couple of ways to crop, and I'm going to teach us the simple and the advanced method. Okay, so let's bring this to this side. We are working with this image now. Okay, so if you want to crop this image now, we can either use this. So if we use this, we that's the crop tool, by the way. That's the crop tool. So select crop tool, and then you can um, select the areas that you want to keep. After drawing to cover the area you want to keep, you can also now drag this down and drag this down, and maybe drag this up. Okay, to remove the reflection, the reflection from the water. Now, after doing that, you just come here and click crop, and it crops your image. Okay, you see that it crops your image to the exact way you want it. All right, now that is one way to crop an image. Now here is another way. Okay, let's go back to selection, keep this here, and let's bring this over to the side and zoom in so we don't get distracted. Okay, another way to crop, which I feel is the advanced way, is to use pen tool. Okay, so you use your pen tool. Okay, so how to use pen tool to crop? We are going to select only the building. Now you notice that in the other method of cropping, we are only able to select a rectangle, and the rectangle made us to select part of the sky. So if we want to select just the building now without the sky, we can use pen tool. So how do we use pen tool? Just zoom in, and then you start drawing over the area that you want to crop. So start here, then go to the next part. I want to follow this line, so I can zoom in to follow the line. Okay, so just keep doing that. If you want to move to an area that is off screen, you zoom out and then zoom in to where you want to place your next point. So I'm placing this point here, and then my next point will be here. Now we are getting into the difficult part, which is these areas. You understand these areas? So just follow carefully. Follow carefully. I come here. I can zoom very close so that I see what I am doing. Just keep putting points on sharp edges and sharp corners. Yeah, so this is basically what I'm doing. Place points on every sharp corner, on every curve too. Okay, so here we have a curve. Might not really be a straight line, but we can just continue by placing on points on the curve. Okay, all right, so that is basically how you do it. You just keep placing points Placing points. If you place on a wrong point, don't worry, you can always still edit. Okay. Okay, or if you think you can make a correction immediately, you can also do Control Z if you maybe place the wrong point. But generally, you don't really need to bother about how exact your points are. You can always still edit them. I just like to get mine on the first try. Okay, so remember where we started our drawing. We are going to close it in that point. So you see that it shows you the zero, like the O there beside the pencil. Shows that yeah, that was the starting point. So we're going to close it there, and we have a shape. Okay, remember how we created shapes before now. So that is basically what we just did with pencil. Okay, so what we now do is to carry the image and power clip it. Remember power clip? Yeah, so that's how we crop. We carry the image and power clip it into the shape we just finished drawing. Now you see it has black outline. You can remove the outline by coming here, selecting none. So that is, so there you go, you have the image. Okay, so if we bring it here, we see that it's almost the same thing with this one. Okay, if you think there are certain things you can correct that you want to correct, you can come to shape tool, and you see all the points, right? You see all the points. I don't like seeing too many points, so sometimes what I just do is I'll select all the points and I will do reduce nodes. Okay, reduce nodes, and to reduce it to the lowest number of nodes or lowest number of points um, that can be available, and the image will still retain its shape. Okay, so that's for that. Then you can also, if you want to, if you think there are some things that should still be part of the image, like this part. Okay, like this part. I hope you can still see my mouse. Let me bring this out. Let me bring this two out so you can see them. Okay, so if you think there are parts of this image you still want to show, like this side, you can still use your shape tool and drag the points, drag this particular point down to reveal what is inside. Drag this point down. Okay, so in dragging these points down, you can now remove this point too by double clicking it, and maybe this point too. Okay, yeah, or let's keep this point, let's keep it here. All right, great. So we are successfully in recreating this, and you see how the edges are clean, very clean. Okay, it's a very clean cut. We just made a cutout of an image. Okay, so that's one way of that. I've shown us two ways to crop an image. To yeah, the first one is to crop, the other one is to cut. So by cutting, you cut the image precisely. By cropping, you crop out a by cropping you are able to select a particular aspect in a rectangle where the part of the image you want is visible. Okay, so that's what you do between um that's what you do between cropping and cutting. Yeah, that's the difference between cropping and cutting. Okay, so those are the two ways. Now, another thing we are going to do with images is to adjust. Yes, we want to also see how we can adjust images, how we can adjust the properties of images. And to do that, I'll be importing another image. I like importing this way. Just go drag and drop. Okay. So this is how I import my image generally. I don't usually use Ctrl I. So you can see here that I want you to look closely at this Independence Day image. You can see that it is green, right? The background is green, and this is the same image I used. This is purple, but here it is green. So how do we make this purple image to become green? It's simple. We go to effects. This is effects tab. Go to effects, adjust, and then there are all kinds of adjustments here, but what we are looking for, but what we want to do is to change the color. So let's go to hue, saturation, and lightness. So you select that, and this is a preset. You understand? Something I've used before, and you can see it already has an effect on the image. So, but if we reset this, you see it goes back to the original image. Now let's adjust the hue. So increasing the hue will make it redder or more orange. Okay, the green is starting to come out. I believe we'll get more of the green from here. Okay, it's starting to turn blue. So let's go back to where we have the most green. All right, then we can reduce the saturation. I want to get this green. So we can drop the saturation and the lightness, right? Drop the saturation and the lightness. And still drop the saturation. Let me see. Yeah, we are getting something close now. Okay, maybe increase saturation a bit, then drop the lightness more. Yeah. All right, so that's how you change the color. That's how you change the color. So we have something close. Yeah, so this is what we have. It's very close, right? So yeah, so basically that's what we have, and that's how to change um, hue and saturation. Now there are other things you can also do to an image. Let me bring another image in here. There are other things you can do to an image. Um, oh, I don't have it here. Okay, let's see. Flag. Yeah. So this is a flag. I'm going to copy it into my folder. Yeah, I'm going to copy it into this folder. Great. So I'll just drag it in now into CorelDRAW, and then I can show us other ways we can edit an image. Okay. So just resizing it. Just resizing it now. You can see we have flags here in the in this Independence Day design. You see that the flags are blurred in the background. Okay, so we can create that effect here. First of all, we need to separate these flags, and to do that, I'm going to use a different technique now of cropping. I've shown us how to cut. I've shown us how to crop using crop tool. I've shown us how to cut using pen tool and power clip. So I'm going to show us how to cut again using shape tool, how to cut or and crop. This tool is basically a combination of cropping and cutting. Okay, so you can use shape tool, and then we want, okay, let's say I only want to keep this particular side of the image, this particular flag. Okay, so I'm just going to select these 2 points. By the way, If your shape tool is not in freehand, this is where you select it. By default, it will be in rectangular, so that when you select this, you can only select rectangular. It will not let you use freehand. So you can make your shape tool to be freehand from here. Okay, so that when you can select tools freely, you can select points freely. Okay, so you drag this and you see it's almost like cropping. Okay, it's almost like cropping what we did here. Okay, select this part and yeah, and that is it. That is it. Okay, space bar. Now, after using shape tool to crop an image, you can also do the same thing here if you are finished. Okay, so let me just show you. After using shape tool to crop an image, let me duplicate this first. After using shape tool to crop an image, you come to effects, flatten effects. Now, when you flatten effects, you will not encounter some technical issues in future. For example, this one is not flattened. If I want to do some adjustments, it will be too much. Okay, there are some adjustments that you might want to do, and you have some you run into some technical challenges because you have not told CorelDRAW that okay, this is the part of the image I am working with. I'm no longer working with the other side. Okay, so most times it's best to just flatten it first before you continue doing your other edits. Okay, so you can also do the same thing with this one. Now this one is not yet flat because it is a power clip. Remember, you created it, you cut it out using power clip, so you can edit it inside. If you go inside the power clip, you still have the image in full, but you can also flatten it. You to in fact to be able to edit it, if you try to add some adjustments, you see the option is not there except you go inside. And you don't if you don't want to keep going inside the power clip, you can just flatten it, effects, flatten effects, and it now becomes its own bitmap. Okay, no longer a power clip, now a bitmap. All right, so with this now you can have the adjustments tab, all the adjustment options available for you. Okay, so back to our flag. Now I want to make it blurry. So if I select this flag and I select effects and I come to blur, there are different kinds of blur here. There is a Gaussian blur. The Gaussian blur will just blur it where it is. Okay, okay, that's the Gaussian blur. Then for okay, remember this one is not we did not flatten it, right? Let's see if blur will work for it. So okay, you see that it is blurring the two flags. Remember what I told you, because it is not flattened. You do not flatten it to one. Um, you do not flatten it after cropping, so you have that technical issue. So whenever you finish cropping using shape tool, especially, always make sure to flatten it. Always make sure to flatten the image, okay, so that you do not get this issue. I'll just Control Z. So bring this again, flatten effects. Okay. Then let me show you another kind of blur. So I've shown you Gaussian blur. Let me also show you motion blur. So this is motion blur. For motion blur, you tell CorelDRAW the direction you want the blur to go to. Okay, let's just try 260 degrees. 260 degrees, right? Then we increase the blur distance. Now, if you are working with blur, you have to be careful because it requires a very strong system to be able to keep up with it. So if your system is not very, if your laptop is not very efficient, you try not to blur too much, not to apply blur too much, okay? Because it will draw on your system strength a lot. Okay, so let me just reduce the blur so that we can easily manipulate this. Okay, great. So you can see the blur direction. It is blurring downwards. You can also blur it right. See the difference? So you see the difference? It's blurring right. Okay, so it's blurring as if it's moving to the left. You can use this for motion projects like a motorbike or something. Okay, just apply the motion blur, but Gaussian blur will just blur it where it is in the center. All right, so we're going to cancel this. Your PC does not start hanging. So yeah, so I've shown you. I've shown you how to blur. I've shown you how to change color, work with saturation, hue, and lightness. Let me show us how to work with brightness and contrast. Okay, so I'll bring this here. This is already a bitmap, so there's no need to flatten it again. This one is the power clip. This one is the bitmap. Okay, so this is the bitmap. Now let's work with um, brightness and contrast. Okay, brightness and contrast. Now, brightness and contrast. This picture is already a high contrast picture. You have it's black and white, so it's high contrast already. Okay, so but if you still want to play around with it, you can adjust brightness here. Contrast is the difference between the light and the dark areas. So contrast makes that difference to be more outstanding. You understand? That's the that's the idea with contrast. And then intensity adds to the brightness, makes it intensity is like brightness and contrast added, and you are just increasing the intensity of the effect between brightness and contrast. You understand? So that's what you do with brightness, contrast, and intensity. Okay. Now, aside from that, you can you can see we are working with the effects option very much when we are doing image editing. Okay, we are working with the effects option. There are many options here under effects. We've touched flatten effects, we've touched adjustment. Okay, you can also do blur. There's contour correction, noise. You can also add noise. Okay, add noise, remove noise. Let's add noise to this and see the effects. Zoom in and you can see the noise. Okay, to remove the preview, you see how smooth it is. But if we add the preview, you can see the noise, right? Okay, so that's the effect of adding noise. Okay, then what else? What else? Distort correction. Okay, let's just do a little color correction now. So um, replace colors. Replace colors. I'm going to try to replace okay. You can see it's already done there. We are going. So if we use the eyedropper to select the original white and then replace it with black, you can see we can also replace it with another color. Let's say orange and yellow. So you can see that if we okay it, that's what you get. Okay, so the white everywhere on this place will be turned to yellow. And you can see there is a white here. There is some white here. You understand? And that white has just been converted to yellow. That's why you see this place looking yellowish. Okay, so you can do that. You can walk around that, and yeah, you can create as much as you want. But the other options, yeah, you may not use them so much, but you can practice them and see what you get. Okay, so we can also work with transparency, right? Yes, transparency. Okay, so to demonstrate transparency, I'm just going to create a box here. Let me size it to 200 by 250. I'm going to unlock that and make it 200 by 250 millimeters. All right, lock that 200 by 250 millimeters is your standard 4:5 ratio rectangle for a social media post. Okay, so um, yeah, I'm going to color this green. Let me color it green. I'm going to remove the outline. Then I'm going to bring this back to, let me just make a copy. I'm going to bring this back to its original color, hue and saturation, reset it. Alright, I'm going to bring it back to its original color. Now, um, I can make this object transparent by coming here. This is transparency tool. Now click it and it is transparent. Okay, to show that it is transparent, I'm just going to select pick tool now and I'll bring this object behind it. So let me bring this in front. Control page up. Remember, sorry, shift page up so I to come to the foremost. Okay, so we can see the object behind it. This object is in front, but we can see the object behind it. Okay, that's transparency because we just reduced the transparency to 49. We just increased the transparency to 49%. Okay, um, so that's for transparency. Then um, we can also work with we can also work with there's something we call blend tool. Blending images together. Okay, it's not really a tool; it's a function inside transparency. Okay, so if you come to transparency, you see the blend options. Okay, you see the blend menu here. There are various options here, but they all serve different purpose. Let's test it out using this and this. So we are going to blend this to this. Okay, now to do that I want to, okay, let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead. So without blending, this is how this purple um this purple image looks like on top of a green one, on top of a green background. Okay, then if we use blend options like more like it's currently on normal, we use blend options like add. By the way, you can still blend and adjust transparency. So this is normal. This is normal at 91% transparency. This is normal at 17% transparency. Okay. Then you can do add at 17% transparency. So you can adjust the transparency while it is on add and see if it gives you what you are looking for, the kind of background you are looking for. If it does not give you that, you try subtract. This is subtract. This is difference. This is multiply. This is divide. This is lighter, darker. Yeah, but okay. So instead of just going through all the transparency menu, all the blend menu, you can do that on your own free time. let's just stick with the popular ones. Okay, so use multiply if you want the darker part of the image to come up. So this is multiply. You can see the purple is lighter than the green, so of course the green stands out. Then darker then the difference between the dark and the lighter parts of the purple image is shown in the design after you apply blend mode. Okay, so you can see the patterns popping up there. Another popular one is texturize. So texturize keeps the background image, keeps the background color, but it applies texture, the texture or the variance between light and dark of the image you're applying the blend mode to. So this image now that we are using has, remember how it looks like. This is how it looks like, just purple, but purple. So this image, you can see there are light parts and there are dark parts. Okay, so it highlights those light and dark parts. If we set it to 0, you can see that the difference is even more clearer, but just that it keeps it on a green background. All right, so on the background, like under it, okay, the background under it is green. So after texturize, we have screen. Screen brightens the, okay, no, that's behind. This is screen. Screen brightens everything. Okay, it applies the light of the image you are using to blend. It applies the light of the image you are using to blend on the background. Okay, so it just makes the background image brighter using the light of the um, image you are applying the blend mode to. So you can use screen. You can also, another one is overlay. This is overlay. Okay, overlay kind of mixes the color. It does what multiply do, but it's instead of darkening the background, instead of darkening the background color, it lightens the background color. Okay, if not, it pretty much does what multiply do. Okay, so you can do overlay. You can also do hard light. Hard light is a more extreme kind of overlay. You can see that it's a more extreme kind of overlay. It makes all the, it takes the, it compares the um between the image you're applying the blend mode and the background color. It picks which one is lighter, and that's the color. See that the the foremost, the topmost image is, the topmost image is lighter than the background image. The background image is dark green, while the topmost image is light purple. So the color that will stand out if you use highlights will be the topmost image. So remember, you can also adjust the transparency while applying blend mode. Okay, so that is it. That is it for now. We are just going to, okay. I think we've done much here now. So we are just going to recreate this design, this particular design. We'll just recreate this particular design now and test our hands on editing images. Okay, so I'll attach a link to the resources in my in the description. Okay, so first of all, we want to make okay, this image, this will be our background image. Then we'll come here. Let me see if I have the right color. No, this forest green is good. Okay, then we are going to make this black and white now. First of all, let me remove the blend mode, just keep it at normal, and then yeah, so this is how the image looks normally without transparency or blend mode. Okay, so this is how the image looks like without transparency or blend mode. Okay, so I'm just going to make it black and white now. Adjustments, hue and saturation. I know we made it green earlier, but um, I want to make it black and white so I can use a particular blend mode. Okay, I know we made it green here, but I just want to make it black and white now so you can see my process. So saturation, drop it to 0 or -100. Okay, so okay that, and then you right click, power clip into this place. Okay, so you remember power clip now. Um, if you want to do, as I mentioned last time, to do most of your editing, if you are doing most of your manipulations, do it inside a power clip, and then you do your main design on top. Do you understand? You do your text, you do your um, logo, anything that you know you still you quickly edit, do it on top. But for your image manipulation, do it inside a power clip. Okay, so that's why I'm putting this my texture now inside the power clip. So double click. I'm using this image as a texture, just like we have here. If you watch here, you have the design has texture. Okay, so that's why I'm using this image as texture. So double click to go inside and apply blend mode. So this is transparency. Click on transparency, normal, overlay. Okay, and I finish. So you see what I have here. I think I want to do multiply instead. So let me do transparency, overlay, multiply. Okay, great. I have that. All right. It's still not exactly this color, so let me see if I can adjust the color here. All right. So come to color viewers, then keep tweaking until I get the right color. Maybe tweak from here too. All right. I think I'm close. Yeah, this is pretty much it. Just need to reduce the saturation a little. All right. Yeah, this should be it. This should do it. Okay, this should do it. Okay. If I also do not want the texture to be so out there, if I want it to be subtle, I can go inside and click on it and then reduce the transparency to like, maybe increase transparency to like 25. Yeah, 25. Um, so with you can drag the adjustment slider, or you can just click in the you can just click here, maybe select and type the amount of transparency you want. If you want 50, type and enter, or if you want 25, you write 25 and enter. Or you can just use, while your cursor is inside the place where you have the number, you can just um, tap on your keyboard, up key or down key, and it will increase and reduce accordingly. Okay, I believe you can see that um, on my actions by the top left of your screen. Okay, so I want that 25. Let's see the effects. Finish. Great. So it's now subtle and I can continue with my project. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to add the flag. So this is the flag. Um, I want the base to show, so I'm just going to rotate it a little, rotate it a little, rotate it, zoom in, rotate it. Yeah, just place it where I want it to be. Okay, then maybe place another flag here, flip it, then rotate, maybe rotate it like this. This one needs to be up there. So yeah. So then the next thing I want to do now is to flatten it. Remember, this one was not flattened. So the next thing I want to do is to flatten it. Effects, flatten effects. Come here to effects, flatten effects. Then I want to apply blur. So I come here. First of all, let me delete this blur so that my system does not hang. Delete this. Then this effects are just okay. Blur. I'll use Gaussian blur for this one. Right. Let me okay. Make it less. That is just fine. Okay. Then um, maybe I can apply a little contrast to it after blurring. No, not brightness, just contrast. Okay, let's make it 20. So see the before and this is the after. All right, so okay, and there you go. I also apply the same blur effect here, Gaussian blur. Okay, great. Why the reason why I'm increasing contrast is so that I can see more of these ripples, even though it is being blurred, even though I'm blurring the flag. I just want to see the ripples. Okay, so I and also to another thing with contrast is that it increases the saturation of your color without like you don't need to go to saturation tab. You can always when once you apply contrast, you automatically increasing the saturation of your image, so the colors will pop out more. That's what it means. All right, so okay it, and then I'm just going to place these two now. I'll select both by holding down shift and clicking the other flag, select both of them, and then power click them inside my rectangle. Great, so I have them inside, and then I want to place my image now, the central image, this National Theatre image. Okay, I can place anyone depending on the effects or depending on how I want to edit it. I can place either the one with the power clip or the one I've converted to bitmap. Okay, or I can use the one I imported as PNG direct, any of them. So let's work with the one I've converted to bitmap already. So this one is the bitmap. This one is the bitmap. By converting to bitmap, I mean any image you flattened, you convert it to bitmap. Okay, so you can see here it is bitmap. This one was already bitmap before it was cropped, so it's still bitmap. This one was a power clip that was converted to bitmap, so that's why you see it here, bitmap. Okay, so you can bring it here, page up, control shift page up to bring it on top, and then I'll just increase the size as much as I want. Increase the size, yeah, okay, increase the size, and then right click, power clip, and drop it in. Okay, it's a bit too big, so let me go inside and reduce it a little. To go inside, you know what I did now? I double clicked on the rectangle, on the shape, and I'm able to go inside. Okay, inside the power clip. So hold down shift. I like to hold down shift so that I can reduce the size uniformly at once. If I don't hold down shift, this is what I'll be doing. I don't want to do that. Okay. So if I hold down shift, I'm able to reduce the size from both ends at once. That will save me more time and make me more efficient. Okay. So this is what this is how I need it to be. Yeah, I believe this size is right. It shows the curve. Let me just drag it this way. Wait. Right. Okay. Great. So I have this. I have this now, and then now to get this, we are going to be applying what we have learned before. We learned how to make shapes. I mean, so we are going to be applying that. We'll write 65. The first step is to write 65. So pick your text tool by clicking here and then write 65. Control spacebar to exit text tool. Now, after doing that, you can now increase the size as much as possible. Then you come here and then you select um, this type trebuchet ms. Okay, it's not exactly the same one I use here, but let's just use it for now. I'm going to break this now by using Control K. Remember Control K to break text. I'm going to raise this high a little. After doing that, I'm going to create a rectangle that will just grace the numbers. So the rectangle is going to end here, just on top of the 5 and just by the side of the 6. Okay, as you can see, it did here by the side of the 5, by the side of the 6, on top of the 5. Okay, so we'll push this 5 a little into the 6 because from what we have here, the 5 and the 6 are connected. So we'll push this 5 a little into the 6. I'm holding down shifts and using my arrow key, as you can see. So it's in. Then adjust this rectangle to also fit. Okay, yeah. So that is it. Then maybe adjust the side also a little more. Great. So we have that. Now the next thing we do is to select this and bring it to the front. Control page up. Then I'll just select the rectangle now and color it white. Okay, so that we can see the difference. Then remove the outline. Great. So we've done that, and then the next thing we will want to do now is to apply Boolean operators. Remember Boolean operators. So we select everything. Select the rectangle um, with the number with the numbers. Select rectangle with the numbers, and then we come to, okay, let's just make a duplicate so that we do not destroy it, we do not destroy the arrangement. Okay, so select this. After selecting that, you come to, we want to remove the front. We want the front to disappear. Like we want everything black to disappear. So the 6 and the 5 will disappear. The white in the back, the white in the back should stay. Okay, so 65 disappear. 65 is in front. So we look for back minus front. So back stays, front goes. So back minus front. That's what you get. That's simple, right? Okay, so the next thing we do now is to bring the entire shape in here and then we resize. Okay, you resize. So after resizing, what next? We align, shift, hold down shift, then select the background. Then we come to our align docker, and then we select align center horizontally. So select that, and it aligns horizontally. So we zoom in now, and then we create another rectangle underneath where we write the happy anniversary. So just want to make sure the rectangle is the same size, the same width with our um, vector here. So with our logo here. So yeah, it's the same width. Then we can now bring it down and then color it white. Great. So we can write the independence underneath in that box. Independence Day. Okay. None. We remove the outline. Next is to write Independence Day, and if you notice, I did the same, I applied the same effects with the 65 on this Independence Day. So see, this is, let me just ungroup it so I will see. This is ungroup again. So this is text go bold, but this is a curve. Okay, this is okay. The text inside is colored green, the same green with the background. So it's not, I did not use Boolean operators to do it, but maybe we can do the same thing here. So let's just type Independence Day, and then we select the fonts. I'm going to use a tall font, go bold. Okay, then just place it inside and then reduce the size so that it fits. Then align it, click on, select the background rectangle and align it. Okay. Next thing to do is to write the other text. Happy, write happy here, write the TH, write Nigerian anniversary. So let's just do that quickly. Happy. For this, I'll be using a simple font. Let's use Helvetica. Okay. Let's use Helvetica and we'll just place it here and color it white. Great. So after doing that, you can now reduce size. Use the size. Make sure it's as tall as this width. Want to make sure it is as tall as this. Okay. You can drag a ruler to that spot if you must, but you can also just use your eyes. So I'm just deleting that ruler now. And then yeah, so I have that. Happy Independence Day. Next thing is to write anniversary and then Nigeria. So let me drag this up a little, holding down control so that it does not go out of alignment. Anniversary and Nigeria. Okay, so I'll just duplicate these fonts. Yeah, hold down control so that it stays in alignment. Then I edit it and convert it to anniversary. All right. Maybe I can now color it white. If you notice, I've not started assigning colors to the entire project yet. Just let me look for, let me make this not to be too thick. Yeah, so that's it. Then Nigeria, if you use the same fonts now to write Nigeria. So that is it. Maybe make it lighter. Let's say medium. Okay. Yeah. Then I'll use my shape tool to make it um, to give it more space, to increase the space between each character. Okay. So yeah, this should be good. Space bar. Then I'll select the background to align. If you notice, I always align. Always align. Okay. If you want, you can put any logo here. But okay, let me just copy this logo and place here. I'm not going to be giving you this logo because it's a client's logo, but I'll give you the other resources. So you can use a logo of your choice, right? Then let's see. I also need to write TH here. So maybe I'll copy this. I cannot see if I place it there on the white, I will not be able to see it. So let me keep it where I can see it and then edit first. Select all and then just write ch, let's say ch, then maybe convert it to black. Now I can see it. Do you understand? Great. So we've done it all. What's left is to just add color. So just add color. So or let's also add social media handles. Let's just add social media handles too. So you can see how I get my social media handles. So there are some fonts that you there are some fonts that are now instead of the normal A B C D to Z, they are social media, they are icons. They are icons, they are logos of social media um, handles. Okay. So I know a font where F is Facebook, C is Instagram, F is Facebook, C is Instagram, T is Twitter. So FCT and I is LinkedIn. All right. So after typing that, I'll just go and look for the fonts now. I know the font is something type. Oh no, fonts. Okay, this is it. The name of the font is Font Social. Yes, Font Social Media. Font Social Media. So this is F is Facebook, C is Instagram, T is Twitter, I is LinkedIn. Okay. So if these are the social media handles you want to post your work, then you can use that font and then you shrink it, and then color it white. Yeah. Then after that, you can also next thing to do is to add the handles, right? So let me drag this font here again, and then usually we use one social media handle. When I encourage brands to use one particular handle for all their social media platforms. So let's just use one handle here and say ads. No, we don't need ads. So let's just say um, design underscore Marley. Okay, design underscore Marley, and I'm going to make the font a little lighter now. So let's just say medium. Okay, great. So that is it. We have that. We have that. You can just group them, select and group, Control G to group. So that if you want to move it about, you know you're moving the entire thing. Alright, so then you can also align to the center. Great. Next is to apply color. So we want to apply color now to our design. Um, there are certain ways we can do this. This is okay, that is the text colored. So there are certain ways you can do it. We can still do Boolean operators and then maybe make a hole in this, make a TH hole inside this 65 shape. We can still make a TH hole inside the 65 shape. The same way we made a 65 hole inside this rectangle. Do you understand? We can still um we can still make a TH hole inside this shape. But let's just skip all of that. You've already seen how to do that. So let's apply an illusion now. Okay, so to apply that illusion, I'm going to use my eyedropper tool, select this, and I'm going to select the dark part of this um, of the background. So select that the dark part. There it is, the color is added here. So I'm just going to use that to color the the text. Maybe make it thicker. Let's make it thicker. Let's go for black. Okay, so thicker. I'll do the same thing with Independence Day. Make it thicker. No, no, sorry. Give it the same color. Sorry. So now it looks like you have this. Now it looks like you have the text cut into the shape, just like we did for the 65. Do you understand? So that's the illusion. Okay. The next thing I want to do now is to apply some color. Now to I want to do something. I want to break this shape. This shape has this part. Let me use my shape tool so that you see. It has this side as one shape. The compound shape has this side as one shape, has this side as another shape, has this ellipse as another shape, and then has this as another shape. You see that? So there are like one, two, three, four shapes here that are forming one shape. Okay, so we can break it by doing Control K. Control K. We do Control K, we have this, and this. Do you see that? So now I can color this and this with let's pick a let's pick this shade, or let's pick this shade. I want to make the design as close to this one as possible. Let's pick this shade. No, that's too. Let's pick this shape. This shape. Yes. Let's just use this, even if it's not the same exact color. I can actually I can come here, use the eyedropper and pick the color, but I just want to um okay, let's just use the color I picked there. So this is it. And then I can also color this background then like this, and then what next? Color this anniversary. Maybe let me use this one now. Color the anniversary. Or let me just use this one for all the colors I'm changing because it has more saturation. Alright, great. So we can do this, and we have our Independence Day flyer. I still think we should reduce the size of this guy. So let's try it now. Maybe, yeah, so you see why you need that, see why you need the power clip sometimes. So I'm just going to bring it inside here. the power clipped image. Remember the power clipped image. Let me remove this one. Let's work with the power clipped image. Okay. So there's a reason why I want to use the power clipped image now. Okay, so this is the size of the theater that I want, right? But you see that there's still space at the bottom, which I do not want. So because I have an image here that can, because I have an image inside this power clip that can cover that space, I can adjust the power clip. I can adjust the points on the power clip now. Select those bottom points and then just drag down. Then I have something that will cover for that space. Simple, right? So after doing that, I can now finish and then I have my design. I have my design ready. Okay, so this is what I have compared to this. To export, I group Ctrl G and then I come to export tab, load it. After loading it, I can come to a destination folder, select tutorial resources. It's already in downloads. Okay, so just in case you are just starting out, so click on maybe if you have the folder you want to export it to in desktop, click on desktop. But I have the folder I'm exporting it to in downloads, tutorial resources, and I'll just select folder and then export. And then once I export, once it finish loading, if I come here, see tutorial resources, I have it here. Tutorial resources, you see that group of 13 objects, which I can now rename and send to someone. So I just exported a design. This should be the first time I'm exporting a design in this tutorial, right? So after having done that, you will see that you have eventually made a an Independence Day anniversary flyer for your brand. Alright. So that is it. That is it. Tell me if you are able, if you have any challenge with working with images or with creating or with recreating this flyer as your practice. Just let me know in the comments. Yeah, just let me know in the comments and I will respond to you promptly. Thank you very much.